everybody. I'm Tom.
I'm Joey Evans.
I'm Camilla.
I'm Z Garcia.
Today we're taking a look at a game called Benevolent with a beautiful cover. This is far away from the big cities lies a mysterious forest. Blah, 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 blah. There are spirits in here giving you stuff. That's the name of the game.
Blah, blah, blah. Spirits give me stuff.
To be fair, that's about as deep as the theme goes in it.
I love
right?
that. Blankies and footprints.
Benevolent is such a great name for a game.
Yeah.
Just not necessarily this one, because I can
No.
never remember it because it has nothing to do with the gameplay.
It's a good word. Benevolent is a good word. I can't
You
recall
should be
it.
benevolent.
Ideally. Whatever. I never remember the name of this game either. I literally just start fishing for words I don't use that much every time I try to think of this game.
It's not a good noun.
It just doesn't stick in the old noggin.
I
The
agree.
old noggin. That would have been a good name.
I would like that.
Okay, we're way off track here, but this is about collecting poker chips. Maybe the game should have been called
Clever.
Lady Gaga. Anyway, here's how it plays. In this game, you're going to build a board, and the board is going to be a little bit different depending on the number of players. It actually comes with this little helper board to show you how to put it together. And if you're playing with all four players, you actually use this and put it underneath one of these as it goes on top of another one. I'm showing you a three-player board. You just take two of these boards and put them together, and you can flip them on either side. The boards will be slightly different. So on a player's turn, they're going to take one of their footprints, and you have four of these footprints, and you're going to place it on a spot. Now, as you place it, your first one you can place anywhere, but after that, you have to place it adjacent to where your footprint is. Once you have all four, you pick one of them up, and you got to keep them all connected together. However, if someone else's footprint there, and some of these spots have a footprint on them, you need to pay leaves. So you'll have to pay a leaf to each footprint that's there. So if it's one print on the board, you just throw it into supply. Otherwise, you pay that person. So if the red player goes here, they would have to pay a leaf to orange, to yellow, and then they would have to put one in the supply. Now, when you go to a spot, you can always ignore whatever the spot is and simply take two leaves from the supply. You don't have to pay anyone if you do that. You're just getting leaves. Otherwise, you can do the action that's listed on these spots. Now, what is the goal of the game? The goal of the game is to get chips. So there's a board here, and there's going to be a certain number of chips on this board based on a number of players. And if you get one of all five types, you win the game. Everyone will start with a four-leaf clover. So you're already 1/5 of the way getting done with the game. So if you go here, you get a four-leaf clover. If you go here, you get a feather. If you go to one of these spots here, you can upgrade one to the next. So I can say, I'm going to get rid of a feather and go to the next level and take a gem instead. If you go here, you can buy them, the different chips, for leaves. And so on this board, it shows you how much each one costs. So the last one here costs 12 leaves, but you can straight up buy one. If you go to a spot that shows this mat here, each player is going to have 1 foot on this board at the beginning, and you get to move one space. So you can move like this, but at any time, I can move back and then take something. So like I can move all the way back to this mat and take the red crystal, or wait till I get over here and then move back here and take the rabbit, and then move forward again, and maybe you can move back, and now I get the feather. But this will let you move one space. And then this one here lets you go to the pyramid. Next to the board is a pyramid of tiles, and you can take one that you can reach, which will be at the bottom. But once these two are taken, someone can take this one. Usually, they're going to be one of two types here. So this one, sometimes there's special abilities. Hey, your footsteps don't have to be connected. When you sleep, which means you don't take the action, you can pay 3 to sleep again. Not sleep, I'm sorry. When you sleep, that's taking this action here, the dreaming one. So you can pay 3 leaves to do that twice. Sometimes they're a one-time thing. Hey, I just get a clover and 2 leaves from the supply. Or here, I can immediately upgrade something. And these will be different each game. They have 2 sides, so you kind of want to shuffle them and put them out, and they'll be different each time. That's the whole game. The first person to get one of all 5 chips immediately wins. Benevolent is a pretty small game when it comes down to it. This says on the side of the box 20 to 30 minutes, and that is absolutely correct. In fact, I think it's to the lower end of that number.
Yeah. I think the 20 minutes, even maybe pushing 25 with the teach, but that 20 minutes would still be first-time players.
Yeah, I think the teach once you play, it's it's almost the game goes so fast. I sit there and think, I got 5 chips. I need to get 5 chips to win.
Right.
Which you like, because it's a great, easy way to teach people. I start with 1. I need to get 4 chips. I'm done.
That's it. Yeah, and the way you get them, you can sort of advance on the track and just make them that way. You can trade up to them. You can buy them, right? But that's kind of it. Get 5 chips, the game's over immediately. There's no scoring. There's nothing else. You get them fairly quickly. That's why it's so fast. And those interesting little sort of different decisions are clever. I think the one mechanism I really do like is that stands out for me, I guess, among other things that I've seen in many games, is the footprint thing. They have to stay together. I thought that was a clever idea. I do like that. You put your first one out there anywhere you want to. You take that action. And then you have to go next to that. And when they're all out, you can move one then, but you got to still be a clump. That's really clever. I do like that one. That I can't just go, I really want over there. No one's there, so it's cheaper for me. But I can't break my group. So you kind of have to make your way over there one little piece at a time.
Which makes those other cards that change everything, that give the variety, make them even weightier. Like the one that you could have footprints, they don't have to be connected. You can go anywhere on the board. Yeah. And I'm like, that's massive,
2 footprints in the same one, right?
Yeah.
You had that. That's wild, yeah.
You could ignore gray footprints and don't pay for those.
Right.
I mean, I ignore them all the time because they're hard to see on the board.
yeah.
So there's some issues with components in the game. On one hand, I think that I like the footprint tokens.
Right.
The poker chips are great.
They're fantastic.
They're
weighted
blender
poker
quality
chips.
type, yeah.
The board is pretty.
Busy, but
pretty, but yeah, I think it sacrifices some functionability in that pretty. It's there's a lot going on. I think you just said busy, right? Is that the word you said? It's very busy. And I think sometimes there's so much artwork on one tile that you kind of lose what the function of that tile is.
I think they could be more unique, like several look alike. Like you mentioned, the one that I think you upgrade and the ones you purchase, they look very similar. Yeah, so.
Yeah. And I think, too, just on the graphic designs, just the footprints that are pre-printed on there need to be more visible. You need to, because there's 2 tiles that are the same. They're both nap tiles, which the icon you need from that is a little bitty blanket in all of this gorgeous, foliage and artwork. So it's this one little thing, and one of them has a footprint and the other doesn't. So you don't even really learn the board. You always have to adapt and be looking constantly.
It could be different on a different side.
Right. It's very flexible that way, which is, I think, a benefit of the game. It does have that variability, but it does sacrifice some legibility, I think, in that.
I'm going to put some black cubes in it to put on the footprints, I think. Also, it should be noted, orange and red are essentially the same color in this game.
They're unusable.
It's worse than I thought it would be.
It is actually. A lot of times I know people are, and we do it where we're like, oh, these colors are too close. Oh, it's a problem. It's unusable, this and that. No, really.
Right.
The people playing those colors had problems. Everybody else had problems. At one point I told Joey, you can't go there.
I'm like, yeah, I can.
I'm like, what do you mean? Your color's oh, that's orange or red or whatever. Those 2 colors are way too close.
They really
Come
are.
on. And you are using 4 colors. It's only 4 player colors. You could have done something else. The sky's the limit. I just kind of think that's a little weird. I don't know. That was strange.
I agree with that. But
it's a resource management game. It is.
Efficiency puzzle.
And it's resource management. It's efficiency puzzle. You're right. But it's really small. It's really small. It's to the point where a couple turns before the end of the game, I'd be like, "Oh, I'm behind you by a couple steps." And yet, when it's done, I'm instantly like, "Ooh, let's try this again." Because the way the boards, it feels different each time. I can try different. It's also with the tiles that come out.
Right.
That's going to change it up dramatically.
The fact that the locations are different, and again, the footprint things have to stay together. Yeah, it changes what you have access to, which is interesting. It is very, in many ways, though, by the numbers, the things, the options you are given in this game. I find to be the most logical options for things a game like this should offer. You know what I mean? It's like, these chips, you get 5. How do you win them? You can upgrade from the previous to the next. You can buy them. You can, it's like, yes. Yes, like if I told you what this game was about and then asked you for ways in which you could level up chips, the 4 things you come up with first are the 4 things you do in this game. So in that way, it's kind of by the numbers. It's sort of like, I've seen it. You know? Does it work? Yeah, because there's the 4 obvious things that should work. It's just not... There's nothing like wild. There's no one action that you're like, in this one, you do a secret bid. It's like, there's nothing wild. You know what I mean?
See, that's true because all the options you have are pretty, self-explanatory. You're like, these are it, and you've learned the game in 5 minutes.
Yes.
But, I mean, I think the beauty of it comes into how those branch, how you decide to go different ways. You want to go to the dream track, you want to start pivoting back and get stuff. And for me, it's a tunnel vision on thinking, okay, I've got a plan. I look over it there, and I'm like, okay, they only have these 2 red chips and 2 yellows. I'm good. I go over here and do this. I'm like, well, wait, why are they there now? It's like all of a sudden they just need the white one. I'm like, what's happening? What is their plan? And then you have to, I like that whole the little way you have to pivot your game plan according to everybody else. Because you'll lose, like we mentioned before, you can lose before you lose. You look over and you're like, I'm not going to make it. But it is a short game, so you're like, okay, next time I'll make sure to keep an eye on that or something. But yeah, you can know you're going to lose before you lose.
Yeah, I think, Z, what you were saying about it not having anything, the effect, that
That's
really
what I
kind of blew
said.
you out. I think that kind of makes the game instantly comfortable, though. And so because there isn't that one weird, quirky thing you have to remember, you teach the game, you know how to play. 20 minutes later, you're done playing. It's a very smooth process and very comfortable, which in my mind, this is kind of a filler category kind of game. Mm-hmm. And I think that is what I would want in that kind of game. So I definitely agree. It doesn't have that big splash, that kind of, wow, this is innovative. But it does what it does well and is comfortable. But more to, I guess, kind of what Joey was saying, I do feel like that ending coming leads to a very anticlimactic ending. It's very, those last 3 or 4 turns just feel like, all right, my efficiency engine here, my strategy that I came up with is not as efficient. You're going to win. Let's play it out. So I feel like, unfortunately for me, the ending game is kind of, not only does it not splash, but it then just kind of trails off. And I don't love that ending.
Comfortable is a good word for it, yeah. I think visually, comfortable needs to be coupled with something that's also very visually appealing and very simple to play, and I don't have to kind of fish for things. But comfortable is a good word for it, yeah.
That's a good point, because those things are kind of in contrast.
What am I giving it?
Yes, sir.
A nice comfortable 6. No, I think this is a cute game. I enjoyed my plays of it. You put it in front of me, I'll happily play it with you. It's just not one that, again, stuck in my head. Kind of like the name doesn't stick in my head. I found the gameplay to not really settle in. And while comfortable, while an easy game to play... And again, I can kind of push buttons and pull levers while I'm messing with it. As soon as it's out of my field of view, I sort of forget about it. There's a lot of games like this, and there's nothing wrong with games like this. I just find this one maybe too late to the party for me personally. Maybe if this is your first kind of filler game, you'll adore it. There's nothing here to dislike. I'm just not... There's also enough little tiny things that they could have tightened up that I'm not necessarily sort of impressed or floored by this. So 6 is fine. It's a fine game for me. I also think that box is a little oversized for the components that come in there too. I wish it could have been a little tighter, and that would have represented those 20 minutes a little bit better for me.
I'm coming in a little bit higher, but not much, just a 6.5. I enjoyed the gameplay. I thought as a filler, it was fine, but I kind of got hung up on that anticlimactic ending where it just kind of like when it's done. And Joey, I think you said after those 20 minutes, you're like, oh, okay, well, let's reset and try again. I would politely decline. I'm good to play it if you bring it out. I'm happy to play it once, but after that like kind of ending, I'm like, So between that and then just some of the graphic choices, the graphical choices that they made with the footprints the same color, the overbusy board, it's a comfortable 20 minutes and I'm good. And then I'm ready to move on to something else.
That's for me. I'm coming higher. I'm coming in at an 8, and only because I love it is simple, and a lot of the decisions that come through, and like we mentioned before, you do see you losing, but you see you're going to lose a couple minutes before you lose, And then for me, I'm like, you know what? Let's run it back. I'm going to make sure I keep an eye on you and make sure we don't go that, or I'm going to try something different next time, because the length of the game is so short. I think it looks good on the table, and that tactile feeling of grabbing those tiles and pulling them out, and noticing these are gone. Who has those? It's like trying to keep track of a lot. It's funny. It's easy and thinky at the same time. I enjoy that. It is a filler game. It's a beginning of the night or end of the night game. But I think this is exactly what I'm looking for in that style of game, for a perfect 15, 20 minutes, and easy to teach. So simple to teach. You just say, here's what you do, here's how you do it, and let's play. And that's what I do like about it. So I enjoy the game. Give it an 8.
Yeah, you said if it's your first one, but this is like my 8,000th game. And yeah, I don't know there's anything new in it. But you mentioned comfort. I was going to say it's like a comfort food.
Yeah. No, I get that.
I like it, but not only do I like it, I'm ready to play it again when I'm done. It's just so, I don't know, sometimes a game plays so smoothly. I'm also giving it an 8. I would give it higher, but there's those graphical problems, some of those, that's drops it for me. Like the footprints, that's a problem that can be fixed easily.
And they could have been easily caught too. That's unfortunately part of the problem.
But unfortunately, out of the box, it kind of instantly takes it to a 3-player game.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to fix it, but not everyone's going to want to do that.
Sure.
But I don't know. I'll tell you what. Also, as a 3-player game, it's fantastic. It's a really fast 3-player game. I really enjoyed that. It works I like with all the player counts. And it's just there. I play it again, and I don't know. I haven't got bored of it yet, so I'm still really enjoying it. So that is Benevolent. Check it out. I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Joey Evans.
I'm Camilla.
I'm Z.
We'll see you next time.